Organissima, New York. Your exotic skin, hair, and beauty source, and your one-stop shop for all your natural and organic skin and hair care, featuring authentic organic Moroccan oil and prickly pear seed oil and much more. Bringing you only the best, straight from the source and proudly produced in the USA. So what are you waiting for? Shop today at www.organissima.com. Organissima, New York. Your beauty is our duty.
Folks, welcome back to the iHealth channel, iHealth Radio, with your host, Hurricane H. New day, new show, new topic. Topic actually not too new. We've covered some of it about a year ago, and it was in a different light angle. I think today we're going to get a little bit more deeper in this particular discussion, and it is a hot topic, I would say, and it is an upcoming topic. It is maybe controversial in some realms, and again, I sometimes I start being a little suspenseful or just kind of ambiguous or whatever. But here's the deal: we're talking about the topic of CBD and hemp, and it is always a questionable discussion, or some people just like they don't understand this world well enough. But I have with me an expert, and she runs a business that actually dedicates to this and helps people and helps women primarily, and I think even men, and we'll know more about that today. So I have with me Hemplily's CEO and I guess founder, Terry Uzon. Terry, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Hurricane. So glad to be here.
Well, listen, it's a pleasure. And and the reason I said it is an interesting topic because I have actually tried to even add like CBD and hemp and so on and so forth in insurance products. And because we work with the federal government in what I do, it is not approved yet, so we cannot apply it. And I work in the government programs for senior markets, which therefore is Medicare. So it has been a challenge for us. But statewide, some states have actually adopted, the use of cannabis, CBD, and there's variations. And I think today you're going to give us a nice little breakdown. What is really the proper, terminology that's used out there? Because it's everything. I know some of it is the source, some of it is the plant, some of it is just that, what people think of it, and and the good, the bad, the ugly, and the myths, and I guess sometimes we have these just ideologies that may not be right, and maybe that's what creates some of the hesitation, whatever. So first things first, Hemplily, your company, how did you really get into it?
Sure. So it was my own health journey that got me here because I was chronically ill starting in my 30s, my early 30s. I just didn't feel well all the time, really tired, really achy, especially after I ate. So I saw a lot of doctors, saw over 6 different doctors, rheumatologists, neurologists. Nobody knew what was wrong with me. So they eventually gave me the diagnosis of fibromyalgia, which 20 years ago, because I'm 51 now, 21 years ago, not many people knew what that was. So it was daunting to me. So I did go on prescriptions, but they weren't helping. If anything, they're causing more side effects, needing more prescriptions, and I just wasn't feeling better. And I refused to believe that the body is going to stay this way and you can't get out of it, right? Mm-hmm. So I researched how to heal naturally from fibromyalgia, and I found that, definitely diet, because I had never eaten well up until that point. Going through college, we eat a lot of pizza, pasta, lots of ramen noodles, and those habits carried on until my early 30s when my body said, I just can't take it anymore. And now we know that genetically modified wheat is not good for us. It's sprayed with a neurotoxin, glyphosate. It's not our ancestors' wheat. So I definitely had to cut that out. So I eliminated wheat. I learned to cook so I could eat organic foods. I eliminated processed foods. I detoxed. And one of the main things that was helping fibromyalgia sufferers with pain was cannabis. So I found that really intriguing. At the time, it wasn't for me. I was like, this is really awesome. I want to support it for people who need it and want to go that route. We need the relief, right? It wasn't for me at the time because I was in corporate. I could get drug tested. I didn't know anybody in those circles because it was illegal, and you have to smoke it. And I don't like smoking anything. So I just continued my research on my own healing journey and feeling better. And by the way, I no longer consider myself to have fibromyalgia because I know what causes it. I know how to pay attention to my body. I know how to eat well. And if I do happen to have a donut or something, you got to have one every now and then. You can make up for it by eating better. At least I can. So I continued studying cannabis and what it really was and why it was prohibited in the first place. But I continued to incorporate, and I still really wasn't feeling that great. So I even had a doctor tell me, "Yep, I think you're allergic to work." I was like, "Can I get that in a letter, written in a letter?" That's really cool. He wouldn't provide it. I don't know why.
I'm pretty sure I know why. But
So in 2017, I stumbled across some news that hemp has most of the medicinal benefits that marijuana has, but you don't get high. And I was like, wait a minute, hemp? You mean that big bottle of hemp oil I saw at the grocery store? I ran to the grocery store and grabbed a bottle of Nutiva hemp oil and tried that. And it's so strong tasting. It's awful tasting. And I didn't feel any better. So, I researched again, and it's not the seeds. The hemp oil you get at the grocery store is generally hemp seed oil. And it's very nutritional, very good for you. Put in your salad dressing, etc. But it's not going to help you feel better any kind of immediate like that. So I reached out to an attorney, a cannabis attorney, found out it's the adult plant. You were mentioning earlier, what parts of the plant, what is it, what's medicinal? Generally, the adult plant extract is medicinal. Specifically, the bud, the flowering part, has the most cannabinoids in it, the leaves to a certain extent. But he helped me navigate the laws. It was kind of a touchy area at the time, and he helped me get Hemplily started back in 2017. So, and a lot has changed since then.
A lot did indeed change a lot of states and a lot of acceptance, and many things happened since. But thank you for that descriptive of the story behind where you are today, and we'll get into more details about the company and the services. But I wanted just to go to fibromyalgia. That's what the diagnosis you had. You said, right?
Yeah, it's a term for we don't know what's wrong with you. You hurt.
That's why I was leading to, like, what does that mean?
And that's what a lot of our diagnoses from doctors are. Arthritis just means inflammation, right? Anything with itis in it, like diverticulitis, colonitis. I mean, it's just you're inflamed. Doctors generally, and they don't intend to not do good by you, but they weren't educated right. They weren't educated in nutrition and such. So they're taught to diagnose and write a prescription, right? They're not going to tell you why. They're not going to get to the root of it so you can fix it from the core of what's causing you to feel this way. There's a lot of doctors that will nowadays, but 20 years ago when I was starting, nobody was really willing to go the natural route and figure out why I was feeling this way. So I had to figure it out on my own. So it's really important that you pay attention to your own body and you become your own best advocate. Well,
so thank you. But the next question is, what is the actual symptoms of this particular diagnosis, and how can someone really know, for example, just by talking about it, to understand what it is, and maybe that's what their real diagnosis is? I mean, you said it. I mean, it's fibromyalgia. What is that? And I go to a doctor.
Yeah, it just means you're achy and you're tired. You have trigger points in your body which are extra sore when you touch on them. It's also tied with chronic fatigue syndrome. It's tied with hypothyroidism, and when your thyroid is off balance, and they're all related, and they just really didn't know what the core of it was, and it doesn't show up on your labs. So if you're just telling them you feel bad all the time, tired and achy, chances are they're going to give you that diagnosis.
Interesting. So that there's no heart, cardiology involved. I mean, you mentioned hormones, you mentioned thyroid and things, but because I've heard a lot of things about it, personally, but it's like for someone that actually experienced it, and understands what that meant for you, it's clearer, at least, to understand how you felt and what it was, what was the diagnosis given to you, and really that didn't help much. So for our audiences, probably a lot of people would probably feel that today, or have some of these, same descriptives that you just mentioned, and they probably have gone to multiple doctors and don't know whether they got the right diagnosis or not.
Right. A lot more people have fibromyalgia now. Almost everybody knows somebody with it. It's much more common, and it's sad because they're not figuring out why we feel this way. So when I found out in 2017 that hemp was giving a lot of the benefits, including pain relief that I learned about many years prior, I couldn't wait to start helping people feel better, whether it was with my journey and the things that I tried along the way to help them feel better, or by taking a cannabis product.
So Terry, you mentioned some very elemental stuff or basic stuff that I think we should address right now. Is that you said it when you are in college, and we all been through that process where, to your point, and today's generation's diet is kind of the same. What you described is the pizza, the pasta, all the, the fast food, and that's what we do. I mean, like I make it, sometimes I make fun of my kids because I'm like, you guys limited your menu already. You have like 5 things or 6 things in the menu, and they're the same. Doesn't matter what restaurant you go to, you ask for the same thing. Even though it's a fancy restaurant, you still ask for pizza or pasta or like some sort of nuggets. I mean, these are like
chicken tenders, right?
Chicken tenders, whatever. Yeah, but it's like, it's weird, right? But we all abuse ourselves when we are at that age, and we think we're invincible. We think that our bodies will just remain strong because they're still young, and that's okay. But first of all, you mentioned 51, so we're in the same age group, exactly same age. So I can relate to it. It's not the same when, back in 25 years ago to now. It's just a whole world of difference how your body reacts, and you have to be more mindful of things, and you are more careful on what goes in, how you treat this particular physical body here, and it's and mental piece of it too. We can talk about that as well. So again, that's an important piece, because a lot of the stuff that we suffer, as we age, and I'm not meaning the age here in a negative way, just the natural process of being a human, is that we plant some stuff into our bodies that eventually have a reaction, in time. It just happens, and we start feeling all these symptoms that we don't even know the source of. But now you said it clearly that you understood now what it was, and you don't even think that diagnosis applies to you, because you did everything that changed how your body reacts today and how your body feels. This is in a personal level. But then you also took the time to kind of do all the different studies and search and things. Now, cannabis is a very, word that we know. We hear that word, we understand. Marijuana is kind of like what we know. It's that nice little plant that makes people high, and it's been illegal. It's a drug, and so we had that part of it, and it's always been taboo, or looked at as a wrong way. It's been debated, and some of the states have been pioneers than others. I mean, California is one of the earliest states that actually adopted some of this and change it. Now a lot of states have come on. Medicinal marijuana use and things like that are more, and you said it, since 2017 many states, I think, jumped into this bandwagon, and they started actually making it more acceptable and more there's still limitations and things like that, but it's different, right? At least it's better now. And we were all taught, that we were told, and even I guess most of the knowledge that we have prior to today's discussion is that marijuana, cannabis, all these things kind of really work to calm you down, to soothe you, and maybe to your point, pain is something that we've always known to be used for, and it helps people kind of not feel everything, right? They're just kind of like, and that's kind of like being what we thought about. I mean, and again, I've had a couple of discussions. This is where that was like the core of it, is like, how to use. And by the way, that was one of the reasons I was looking to incorporating it in some of the benefit design, and maybe providing this as a medicinal to the seniors for pain management and oncology treatment, things like that. And so that actually works. I mean, you mentioned arthritis and things like that. Anything that is painful, it should help, but the feds haven't gone to that point yet. And so hopefully soon enough, somebody will write a bill, and it will go accept it, and then, hey, it's used in Medicare and other type of insurance space, but it's not there yet. So it's all private, and it's all regulated differently. So
it is. It's still a very wild landscape, and it changes daily. So what we knew hemp versus marijuana in 2017 is not what we have now. Mm-hmm. So it leaves a lot of confusion with people. So that's why I like to talk to people. We're consultation based. I come on and talk with you, because a lot of people heard the fad 5 years ago, 3 to 5 years ago, and tried it, and may have said it didn't work for them, or maybe they had a bad experience with it. It's not a harmful plant, but you need to know what you're doing. And 5 years ago, it was an easy distinction. If it got you high, it was marijuana. If it didn't get you high, it was probably a CBD product, and it's hemp. But those lines are blurred now. So you can get products that make you high with the same cannabinoid delta 9 THC that you can get that from hemp, just the way you can from marijuana. It just takes a lot more plants, right? A lot more plants, because it's only a minor cannabinoid in the hemp plant. But you have to be careful with what you're doing in the landscape. It changes daily until we get those regulations. Regulations can be good, it can be bad. It's not as simple as just making it legal, whether medicinal or recreational. There's so many things that have to be taken into consideration. And then each state has their own laws. So it's still a very confusing landscape. But overall, it's a very safe drug if you know what you're doing, or safe plant, natural plant. God gave us this plant for a reason. He gave us everything we need to heal naturally. This one just takes a little bit more guidance and having someone come alongside you so you can get the best benefits for you.
So thank you, Terry. So marijuana plant, hemp, not the same.
Not really. We used to say, again, 5 years ago, we'd say marijuana was short and bushy and hemp was tall and lanky. And hemp has 0.3% THC or less, and marijuana is primarily THC. So marijuana is, primarily THC with other minor cannabinoids. Hemp is primarily CBD with other minor cannabinoids, including that THC in there. It's not anymore. They've crossbred them so much. People are trying to come up with something new and unique and innovative and working within or around the law. So now it's pretty much, if it's 0.3% or less, it's hemp. If it's 0.3 or more, it's marijuana. Doesn't matter what the plant looks like. Doesn't matter where it comes from. It's going to be up to the lab test. Does it fall below 0.3 or above 0.3?
So thank you for, I just thought it would be nice to differentiate that and just kind of give our audiences a little bit of a clear cut where it is today. I mean, to your point, a year from now that can change again, but at least we know where that is. And but the core elements, you mentioned the cannabinoid. Well, CBD, right? I mean, is that what that
CBD is the main cannabinoid in hemp, or was the main cannabinoid if it's not crossbred. So yeah, that's the one that is very medicinal. It won't get you high, but people like their booze-free buzz lately. So that seems to be more popular now that you can get legal intoxicating products. And we just added one to our lineup a week ago as well. Seems to be what people want. So don't knock it. It's still highly medicinal. You can microdose on it to try to not get the intoxicating effects and still get some medicinal effects, or you can use it as a alcohol alternative to really relax in the evening, to sleep well. So it isn't that easy to pick a product. People who are new to it don't know which product to pick, so we help them with that.
So we will talk about the application of it. And I know before, again, we talked about lifestyle and just the eating and stuff, but you did some other things, which you said you've picked up a healthier lifestyle. So I guess that included fitness, looking at what you have. I mean, you mentioned something about alternate wheat, which is not really the ancestors' wheat. And so you gave that up. You detox, you went organic. And so you learn how to, cook some things that are healthier. And I think these are all important things for our audiences, because this is not about just applying a product to stuff. You also have to change the way you live. Right. And then add some of these things to help you. And I'm pretty sure these things are going to be good for almost every diagnosis if you did it right and you had the right diet, the right physical activity, the right detoxification with some additional applications of products that are natural. There's a good chance you're going to have a healthier body and physical and and activity as well. And so you'll feel much better as well.
Yes. So we're not doctors, and we talk about how it can help you anecdotally, but you want to definitely talk to your doctor if you're on prescriptions and such, but it's a great supplement to what you're doing currently. It's not a panacea, but it is for some people. For some people, it's life-changing. So yeah, it's not, we can't say it's going to heal you, or it doesn't treat disease, things like that, but it really can make a big difference for you, and as often as one serving or your first dose, if you get it close to what your body needs. And that's another thing about the plant, is everybody has different needs. The plant seeks out what you need and brings it in balance, mind and body balance. So you have to find out the right amount for you. And that can take some experimentation, while some people might feel better their first time trying it.
Well, thank you. Well, so one thing you mentioned about our doctors, you still have to always refer to your doctor to make sure that there's no interactions and so on and so forth, which I I would say we don't like to piss off our doctors. I mean, we do need them for other things. But you did mention something about, to your point, 20 plus years ago, even the medicine and the doctors have evolved also in terms of how they see different things, and some of them continue education, do all kind of particular potential studies on alternative stuff to just incorporate. I mean, many doctors are adopting some of this style, and to your point also, that they're not great in the diet piece or the nutrition piece of it. They know some of it. Not everybody is, gets the whole formation of all the stuff that's available out there, right? And I think working with alternative medicine, even Eastern medicine, and some doctors have partners in different, alternate words, and it changes the dynamics. But you're right. It's just one thing that we had 20 years ago and another is today. And again, to your point earlier, next year things will change. This stuff is going dynamically and fast, in terms of improvements. And I think it's all good. I hope that there's nothing going bad, at least in that route of the medicine and the health piece of it.
A lot of people are realizing that you got to get back to natural medicine. And I'm not saying we don't need doctors, we do, but there are a lot more naturopaths, wellness coaches, hormone coaches, things like that, because they're realizing that prescriptions aren't always the answer. And sometimes it's a combo of both Western medicine and natural, but we really want people to consider natural if they haven't.
So Terry, now I want to get into like your, I got the story, and I think the audience is clear about, your journey and what got you into this, and the reason why you started your own company. But now you decided to do this because there nothing in the actual industry out there, or you wanted to do something unique that is more the right fit and the thing that worked for you? Because sometimes you're right, it's one thing to get stuff from the market, or when you don't see it exactly how you want it, you might want to go and create stuff. Not everybody can do that, but you did.
Right. Yeah. So in 2017, when I was considering helping people with hemp, I looked at network marketing and MLM brands that were out. Those were one of the first ones to have the legal hemp, available to people. I considered that, but their pricing and their program and things like that, I compared to what I could do on my own and found out I could do it on my own and offer it at a much lower price, same quality at a lower price. So that's why I took that route. Sorry, I totally got sidetracked. That's a little bit of my menopausal symptoms, brain fog. We're
going to talk about menopause too.
About my journey of why I started the business the way I did. So when I started 5 years ago, it was just to offer CBD products. Our name was even CBD Oil Source because it was all about CBD, and that was a keyword, a hot keyword that people were interested in. So we offered it for everyone. I opened a store. The store was very successful and such. But then came 2018, and the Farm Bill was passed, which made it a lot more legal, and stores opened up everywhere across the street from mine. So we had to start differentiating ourselves. And over the 5 years that I was doing that, I had women coming into my store and saying, Terry, I don't have hot flashes anymore. My night sweats are gone when I'm taking your product. And we already know that it helps mood swings, balance your mood, gets rid of stress and anxiety, helps you sleep. But I wasn't aware of how it helps symptoms of menopause or perimenopause, premenopause, like hot flashes and night sweats. So I researched it, and nobody else was doing it. Nobody else was talking about it at the time. More people are catching on to that now. Other brands are as well, but it makes sense that it helps because we all have an endocannabinoid system. It's our master system regulator over our other body regulating systems like our immune system or our endocrine system, which is hormones. So it makes sense that it would balance your hormones, and it does. It works really well with cortisol. It balances cortisol, which give us our temperature imbalances and such. So it's just one of the incredible things that the plant can do for what your body needs, and women in menopause are especially deficient in cannabinoids. So I decided to lean in on that and start helping women realize that there is an alternative. There are alternatives. There are natural alternatives to hormone replacement therapy, but most people don't realize that cannabis is an amazing alternative and it can give you relief quite fast. So we focus on women's issues from menstruation to menopause and more, because period pain or hormones are out of whack during menstruation, crazy lady syndrome, things like that. You take a hemp product to help get you through those times, and of course to sail smoothly through menopause. Now, it doesn't work the same way for everyone again, but it works great for me, a lot of my customers. So that's where we're leaning in. And yes, our products are still good for men, and some men go through menopause. They're called andropause, and men have hormones, right? So it does help them all the same, whether it's anxiety, stress, mood, sleep, and even symptoms of menopause. It can help men as well.
Well, thank you for breaking that. I mean, I was going to ask about the hormone balances and how it it applies, but you covered that. So now the concept of your store, right? I mean, you mentioned you opened the store with CBD Source. I think that was is that what the name? CBD Source?
Originally, it was CBD Oil Source, and I changed it to Hemplily. Yep.
Right now, I know that you just can't possibly open stores of CBD and cannabis and things like that. I mean, again, depends on the states, I guess, because I mean, there's the whole thing of what dispensaries, and there are regulations on who, qualifications. What are some of the parameters to actually really operate in this space? Because I know it's kind of a little still regulated, and not everybody can do it, and what kind of process you have to go through.
So right now there is no license in most states to sell hemp. So I just needed to find a landlord that was willing to allow me to open a store, because in 2017, still even law enforcement wasn't able to differentiate. Law enforcement didn't know what CBD was, and looking at it, know that it wasn't marijuana. So we started very early on, but I had a landlord that I had a good connection with and got a store opened that way. But and still most states you don't need a license. I think there might be one or two where you need a retail license of sorts. And the law's changing very quickly. Congress is working at the federal and local level to create laws on who can and can't sell it. So there's just more to come on that. But right now it's pretty open market.
So this is specifically hemp. It's lighter. And now if you're talking about other products, maybe that's when you need the licensing and the dispensary, level, right? I'm not just to get the differentiator, because people will still think that it's the same thing.
Well, it's almost the same thing nowadays. It really is. Again, it just comes down to the law is kind of vague. So marijuana dispensaries, they had to spend lots of money, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars, just to get licensed and to be able to operate in that space. Mm-hmm. And now here we are on the hemp side, where we don't need any licensing, and we are selling legal THC products because they're derived from hemp and they're still below 0.3%. So people on the marijuana side aren't happy with that.
Well, I was going to ask you, that's heavy competition.
So something's got to give. So we need regulations. We're hesitant about regulations, but welcoming at the same time, because we do want the bad players weeded out with regulations, but with regulations often comes taxes and control. So people have left the marijuana space to come to the hemp side because there's, less regulation there. But it's why a lot of people don't know what to do with cannabis right now, because there isn't regulation. What are you getting? You can't even say, oh, it's hemp. It's harmless. You might pop a gummy and it's hemp, but it's a pure THC product, and you can get really uncomfortable and not enjoy it. So you just got to know, you got to get something from a reputable brand or a person you trust, and know exactly what it is you're taking. Because just saying CBD, maybe it has a lot of CBD in it and it still has high THC. There's just a mixture of things. So I think it's really hurt the industry right now, because people don't know what's what. I think they're just taking a step back, a lot of people, because we don't know what's what right now.
No, well, thank you for clarifying that, because I can tell you, I see products CBD all over. I mean, I go to ShopRite in Jersey and they have CBD products. And again, I don't know what's in them. I just see or it says hemp, and again, to me, it's the one and the same. What should a consumer look for? I mean, and this is in the States, by the way. Now, this is not just, limited to the States. I mean, our show goes all over the world. I mean, there are products that marijuana is all over the world. I mean, there's also hashish, which is, another, similar plant. I mean, and Canada is big. And so there's different places that people may be listening to here, well, we don't have that problem. Again, every place is different, has own regulations or processes of how they do. But a consumer, doesn't matter who they are, what should they look for to get something that is healthier, but without the side effects, if they don't want the high piece?
There isn't. Well, there's generally an answer. you want a full spectrum hemp product, I believe there's different stages of CBD. There's CBD isolate that's just the CBD compound. There's broad spectrum, which adds more of the plant compounds for a little bit better effect and more medicinal boost. And then there's full spectrum that is everything the way the plant wants it to. It was created and is naturally, and nothing's filtered out. It has trace THC in it, and that's called the entourage effect. It works better for more people. So generally, we'd say go with a full spectrum product, but then people who are concerned about drug testing might try a broad spectrum or back to an isolate. I can't say what people should look for exactly. People need to call somebody who's knowledgeable about it. Hopefully the CBD brand that you're looking to purchase has consultation. Mm-hmm. And we even have a partnership with leaf411.org, which is cannabis trained nurses for medical concerns, because we can't talk to you about, does it interact with your medications? How is it going to help you with your medical diagnosis? We talk anecdotally and help you select a product, but we can't talk to you about your medical issues. So we have Leaf 411 that can talk to you about that. But there's not really a clear answer to that. Generally, you say CBD and you're going to get the medicine without the high. But I even caution with that nowadays.
Well, thank you. I mean, again, that says, again, it is clear that it's not a cut and dry kind of process, or at least industry. And there's a lot of, room for error, I would say, one way or the other. And it's not error. I mean, some people do want to have the high. And I think that most people would probably want that as a side effect.
We would ask, do you want the medicine without the high? Would you like a little bit? Sometimes people don't want the high, but we're still going to add THC in, because CBD balances the effects of THC. So we want to give you the medicinal boost of THC. Maybe we're going to give you like a quarter of a THC gummy in addition to your sleep CBD tincture to give you an extra strong, response. And so there's ways, it's just not a straightforward plant. On the marijuana side, there's 10-to-1, 5-to-1, 1-to-1 on THC to CBD. And we pretty much have that on the hemp side as well. So as you can tell, it just doesn't work very well unless you really know what you're doing to pluck a product off of a shelf at a retail store.
Well, again, and thank you for clarifying.
You want to go with somebody who you can talk to, like us. Give us a call. We'll even take calls from people who don't have our product. If you have a product in your hands, call us. We can help you identify. If there aren't any regulations on labeling consistency. So one brand says 1 million milligrams CBD or just 1 million CBD, and you think, well, that's a better value. No, there's no such thing, so we're going to help you figure out what it is you have and try to make the most of the product you have in hand that you've tried maybe from another brand. Maybe we can help you adjust or explain why you're not getting relief from that product.
Well, no, so I appreciate that. And I think that, most people watching and listening right now, that's actually a great piece of comfort to have, to know that you can actually consult, at least to understand what's going on. And your product or not, at least that's the possibility to ask someone. Because to your point, I go to the store, there's nobody there that's going to know what's in there. I mean, they're not pharmacists, and most of these people, you get it out of the shelf and you just take it. Now you might even have side effects. To your point, you can have some medicine that you take in for other reasons, and then there's an adverse reaction because you combine these two elements. And I love the fact that you have a special service, of nurses that are dedicated to actually, discuss the contradictory, effects and things like that, and hopefully to eliminate any risks. And that's again, very smart of you, and it's good, the right approach to really make sure that the products are safe, and that you don't just recommend the product because you want to sell the product. It's really, you want the outcome.
It's a liability issue. A lot of brands will try to diagnose you and just want to sell you a product. So we're so grateful that we have this membership with Leaf 411. They vet us as quality and transparent, and we get to work with them. We get to send our customers or potential customers who have questions. We give them our code. It's like a coupon code for a free session with the cannabis trained nurses. So you can talk to them for, I think, like 25 or 30 minutes as a consultation on which product is right for me. And they may or may not even recommend my product back. They have other members that might be a better fit for them. Mm-hmm. But we thoroughly enjoy that partnership with them because they have the knowledge, and it takes liability off of us. We want people to get what's best for them. Absolutely.
So what about online presence? I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, I'm talking about shelves in stores around town, but I mean, you go to Amazon, you go to all different, online, shops, and, there's thousands of these products out there, and you would not even have a clue what, it's great CBD. And again, for someone that has not, doesn't have the knowledge, I would probably pick the first one I read because it just looks awesome, sounds awesome.
And that's why people have tried it and said, it didn't work for me in most cases. Amazon doesn't allow the sale of CBD, but people sell it. But people sell it there. So in order to get approved on Amazon, I don't think the laws or the regulations with them have changed, but you just call it hemp, right? Hemp, it could be hemp seed, it could be adult plant. You don't know, but if you're just calling it hemp, they're going to let you post it. But what are you getting? So you got to weed through the reviews, just look at the reviews. And, some of them, we don't even know if we can trust reviews. They'll say, yes, this helped me tremendously, or no, don't bother. Again, that's where you find the ones, or late night on television, 1,000 CBD, 10,000 CBD. The strongest real CBD strength on products you're going to find is about 2, maybe 3,000. But tons of products on Amazon, and especially during COVID, everybody started ordering theirs online, and they're like, okay, this doesn't work for me at all. So they think that's all CBD or all hemp products, and it's not.
Thank you. And so now another question is about the mode of use. I mean, there's I guess oils, there's ornaments, there is pills, there is different ways of consuming. I guess there's also well, you mentioned oils already. So there's different ways to actually really consume a product, or what would be the best mode? And is it, depends on the type of problem that you have?
Yep. Not necessarily the problem, but a couple of different factors. Topicals are the easiest, and that's usually where I start people off, because you don't have to worry about figuring out what the right amount is for you. I just give them a pea size amount or 2 pea sizes to put on localized pain, and they should feel better anywhere from instant to 60 seconds, or we don't recommend the product. That's pretty simple. But as far as something that you're consuming, it comes down to preference. Gummies are the most popular. They're tasty, they're fun, they're portable. I mean, it's all pretty portable, but oils are the healthiest and the fastest absorption next to vaping. I'll get to smoking and vaping, but oils are really popular. They're also called a tincture, where you put drops under your tongue and hold it for a bit, because you get it in, you bypass your digestion, you get it right into your bloodstream through your mucous membrane. So it's the highest absorption rate and the fastest response, meaning faster than just swallowing something like a gummy. And you can tweak, in a dropper of oil, you can do a little bit more, a little bit less. I mean, sure, you can do that with a gummy, eating, just a little bit of a gummy versus the whole thing, but oil under the tongue is faster. But then there's smoking and vaping that's pretty instant, within seconds of inhaling, and it's not the healthiest, but it's the fastest. And because it's the fastest, it's easier to determine how much is right for you. Some people make the mistake of just dragging really hard on something, and it's way too much. You always got to start very light and low, but you should feel it quickly and hopefully not get too much that way. So if you need immediate pain, that is the best, but it's not the healthiest way.
Well, so there's always a risk. Someone can just say, I'm just going to take 2 gummies. I have too much pain. It's difficult to control that. I mean, at the end of the day, you will give the instructions, but someone's always going to be responsible for the action.
Yeah, we instruct on our THC gummies that can make them uncomfortable. The CBD side, if you get too much, it's just going to make you sleepy. It's saying rest while I repair. The CBD side is quite safe from unpleasant effects. I don't want to say it's harmful. It's not. But the THC side, yes, we recommend that people start with a quarter of a gummy the first day, because too many people, we're used to alcohol and its quick, immediate effects, will take that small amount that I recommend, and 30 minutes to an hour later say, I don't feel anything. And they take another, and then an hour later, boom, they're way beyond where they want to be, and they don't enjoy it. So that's the thing with having to wait for it to go through digestion. And have you eaten recently with it? Is it on an empty stomach? And a lot of people do. They just say, I just need relief. And then they might not enjoy the experience.
Well, is there a particular time that you need to actually take these products, or it could be any time? Does it have to be with meals?
anytime when you need it. It doesn't have to be with meals. Generally on the CBD side, we do say take it with meals. It seems to increase absorption, taking it with fats, but our oils are already in a coconut oil base, which is some good fat for it, and it helps increase absorption. Isn't really a good time of day. Do you need it for anxiety relief and focus throughout the day, or just to get out of bed because you're stiff and sore? Take it in the morning. If you're, starting to feel anxiety midday, take it. If you want it for sleep, I generally tell people take it an hour before bed, so you start to feel like, yes, I'm ready to go to bed. But it's not a sedative either, so some people won't feel that and just close their eyes and still fall asleep. Some people take it in the morning and still fall asleep great at night, still get amazing sleep for it. So everybody's different. The when, the how much, and the how often is up to the individual and how it makes them feel. And we guide them through that, because we did a study where we had over 200 women trying our products, and they're like, I don't feel anything. And they reported that they only took half a dropper full once a day. And I'm like, well, we ask you to take a full dropper full to start. Some people do get more benefits from half, but we like to talk to them a couple of weeks after they get the product so we can help them adjust and find what's right for them, because it isn't a straightforward answer, but there's no harm. It's hard to balance it's complicated, and everybody's different with creating fear. Like, oh, I don't want to do it wrong. There isn't really a wrong either. Just give it a try, adjust your dose, and see how you're doing, and call us if you need help.
All right. Well, thank you. Now, for menstruation, like menses, is there a particular, is that specific time where they have to take a particular product for it for women? Because
definitely take a CBD product when you're heading in. If you're getting moody, grouchy, things like that, period pain, we have a relief gel roll-on. We added essential oils to the CBD, the full spectrum hemp extract and CBD. We added essential oils that are already known to help calm period pain. So the roll-on is really easy. It's great for back or on the go too. But
okay.
Yep.
So another thing, caffeine is everybody's, thing. Most of the people drink some sort of level coffee, and is there any interaction? Does that work well with it? Is there
works
even?
Great with it. Yeah, works great with it. It'll calm the jitters of caffeine.
Oh, perfect. So it's actually, it's a good balance.
Yeah, definitely a good balance. Some people put it in their coffee or tea, things like that. So you get a nice lift for the day without the jitters. So it goes great. And you can take it with alcohol. You can take it with beer. Hemp and hops are cousins. So there's a lot of things that it's great to go with. There's just a few things that it shouldn't go with, that you shouldn't take it with. And again, talk to your doctor or one of our cannabis nurses with that.
Thank you. So one thing you mentioned earlier was about like you can drug test for work and something of that. I think you alluded to something like. So again, everybody today, if you're going to work anywhere, there's a drug test that you have to take. Is there any risk for someone that is on any, I guess, hemp product?
Yeah.
So the answer is yes. Okay.
You should be cautious. It depends on the product again and how much THC has in it. The CBD isolate has none in it, but some tests, very few, but it's possible that the test just detects cannabis. It sees CBD and says, "Oh, I see cannabis," and it gives you a false positive for THC. So CBD isolate products are the lowest risk, and then broad spectrum that has the THC filtered out. And we're full spectrum with the THC. Some people still pass with flying colors, and some people don't. So it's just a matter of how our bodies process it out of our system. So it is something to take into consideration when you're consuming a hemp product. And definitely if it's a THC product, that's just pure THC, it's going to show up on a drug test. But not every employer is testing for cannabis anymore. A lot of the big banks, I'm from the Charlotte area, where there's a lot of banks, they don't test for it anymore. They were losing too many quality employees to positive drug tests. And they decided it wasn't worth it. It's not. So I think as time goes on, more employers are realizing, there's some definitely that need to still test for it, but a lot of them are realizing, let's let this go.
Well, ultimately, if a state has legalized some level of use, medicinal, recreational, you'll have to loosen up a little bit on the testing side, because you're going to find a lot more people doing it otherwise. I get it. If it's completely not acceptable, then there's a risk. You're only going to catch those that are really doing something that is not appropriate. But now my question, because I know this for a fact, in some states, it's a requirement, like if you're smoking, whatever, you might not, like in healthcare. I was in Pennsylvania. There are strict rules about, you know, smoking, for example, and whatever, and they do a test not only for your urine and blood, but I think they also do DNA testing sometimes. So the question is, how long, let's say if I wanted to get a job, just not to have the risk of not, getting the job, what would be a time frame for me to stop the use to actually be clear of anything in the body? Because I was told that is 45 days, and for DNA it could be up to 6 months. Is that even a reality?
Those are generalities, yeah, and I can't tell you a good answer to that. A lab can probably give you better. Yeah, the blood and the hair and the DNA definitely can detect it from 6 months ago, or they can go a lot longer. They can find that you had it in your past than just a regular urine test, but there isn't any hard and fast answer to that.
Well, again, buyer beware, right? People have to be aware. Well, again, that's the reason the question is just that, so people don't get, how can I say it? Trying to get the right word here, but like, we want people to be just clear that, you have to do your due diligence here, and don't just take, our word for it, because if you want the job or whatever, don't take a risk. You got to make sure that you know what you're doing, and you have to, don't get into a system if you're not sure yet, or if you're transiting from a job, whatever.
Yep.
Again, at the end of the day, if I am really in a bad pain, and that's what I need to solve today, I was probably going to think about that now. I'm not going to worry about the job next week, or a job that I don't have yet. But again, people have to use judgment, good judgment call here, and make that, and that's it. And you can also be, I guess, be clear with your provider or your company. If you have a doctor, maybe you can get a prescription as to why you're using whatever medicine or whatever treatment you're using. So it's important just to do the right thing by you, but understand what the risks are, so at least you know how to deal with them in advance. And so that was it. Wow. So we've got a lot of grounds. So first of all, you are, I believe you said, in the Carolinas, and now you serve everybody, or, I mean,
we
does it
ship
have to be across?
Yep.
Okay.
Across the nation, free shipping. I mentioned before, we're consultation based before, during, and after. If you don't get benefits or don't like the results of our products, we'll give you money back. We'll give you your money back. So we want to make sure you get the relief you need and help you get there. And some people, it just doesn't help. They're not cannabinoid deficient. So when we understand that, and we'll just hit the refund button.
Well, is there an assessment or something that you do before you actually can prescribe to someone? I mean, I do your consultation, but is there like anything? Because I can tell you like all my stuff, I may be just wanting the product. By the way, I can tell you,
if you just want the product, you can just order it. If you have questions or need help picking a product, you can start with any product, especially for stress and anxiety and sleep and mood, things like that. Any of them are going to work, but that's why people look and they say, I don't know where to start. That's where you give us a call and we'll help you figure out. We'll ask you some basic questions. What relief are you looking for? But if you ask us, again, two questions that are more medical about your situation, we'll refer you over. But anybody can just log on and buy it.
All right, thank you. Do you find that there are more clients that are maybe at a particular age group or a particular, diagnoses, that actually seeking the help and the products? For
Number
example,
one is sleep. Number one is sleep. For absolutely everybody needs sleep to restore and repair, and that means a lot less symptoms across so many other things: stress and anxiety, sleep and pain. Those are the biggies. But we learn every day about other things that it helps as well. It can help with vertigo. It can help with digestive issues. It's a long list, but those are the biggies that people can usually expect from it.
Terry, thank you so much, and I love the name, the company. I mean, it's a very slick name, and is that? I mean, I love it. I mean, you guys came up with. I mean, I don't know if it's you or a team, but
I did. Lily's our favorite flower, or my favorite flower. It just had a nice ring to it. So, and yeah, it has a softer name. People told me that it has a softer name to it and you're still selling to men. I'm like, yeah, that's okay. Half of our customer base is still men, even though our name is Hemplily. So
Listen, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Again, it's all about what you get in from your product, and yeah, it's not. I think that whole connotation about a male name or something that's gone. I mean, I use all products. If it's a good product, I don't care what the name is, as long as it works and it's a good brand, that I can trust. That's it.
Yep. So if anybody does want to give us a try, we have a coupon code for you, SMART25, SMART25, and you'll get 25% off your entire first order. But we do hope you'll try it, whether it's ours or even another brand, to see if it gives you some relief.
And we will have the link to your site on our, description of the show, so everybody can actually have access to you. Now, you said nationally, but you don't do anything international, right?
Not international because of law differences.
Got it. Okay. So again, if you're out of the States, I don't like here, but there's alternatives out there, within whatever perimeter of your, borders, I guess. So any last advice to our audiences?
I just want to reiterate what I mentioned earlier on is you got to listen to your body. Your doctors can't get inside of you, really. So it's up to you to decide how you feel, and you need to take control and start asking why instead of just going with the patch for everything. So cannabis is a great plant that used to be in every doctor's bag before it was prohibited for nefarious reasons. So we hope that you will give it a try if you haven't already.
Well, thank you, Terry. So it's been great. I've learned a lot, and I've learned more than I had. And it's amazing. Like, everybody gives you a different angle, and you learn every day something new. And you know what? I enjoy it, and I hope that our audiences did the same today. So thank you so much for being with us, taking the time. Folks, this is it. I'm Hurricane H. Thank you for being with us, for watching, for listening, and we'll talk soon. Bye for now.